Hey everybody, it's Minius. We've got some more stuff from the recent EA Play, and I want to react a bit to your reactions to the Mass Effect Andromeda stuff recently. First of all, I had a lot of fun and learned a bunch from my Los Angeles trip, specifically about what kind of equipment to bring and what kind of lodgings I need. Unfortunately, the hotel that I was staying at decided to upgrade their internet on Monday, and as upgrades go, it didn't quite work right off the bat, so I wasn't able to respond or update stuff, but I'm back home now and I've got time to do that. Something that a bunch of you pointed out is that Mac Walters gave an interview that gave a bit more information. Now, if you haven't seen it, I've got a link in the description box and you should go see it. In fact, go check it out first. He said a number of things. First of all, confirming that the female at the end of the trailer is the protagonist and is named Ryder. That Ryder name is also confirmed to be a nod to Sally Ride, who was the first American woman in space. Just like with Shepard, you can choose between male and female, but unlike Shepard, Ryder will have a family that is very important to the story of Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, this family thing can go in a whole bunch of different directions. Maybe Ryder's parents are in the scene, maybe Ryder has additional siblings or even children, though I don't think your Ryder will already have had children at this point. Max specifically said that the way you choose your character is going to be a bit different. Now, this could mean a bunch of different things, but I'm going to take a guess and say that you can choose between siblings. There might be a Ryder brother and sister, and you can choose to play one, and the other will be a supporting character during the game. Maybe even an antagonist, which is something that Andrew pointed out first. I think I'd like this possibility, but I want to know a bit first. What is sure, though, is that the addition of family into the story is going to make it much more personal. Again, there are a ton of directions that you can go with this, and it's worth its own video, so I'm curious to know what you would want or not want from the Ryder family. I'll see what you guys have to say before I get into a full speculation video in a little more than a week. Mac also said that they're planning to explore gray areas in storytelling. That's something that's been brought up before. Previous sci-fi BioWare games have been more black and white, dark side or light side, renegade or paragon. This might be different. Now, I don't think the Renegade Paragon system is in jeopardy, but I really like the idea of spending time in gray areas, as opposed to going to one extreme or the other. Let's try a hypothetical example that might actually happen in Mass Effect Andromeda. Picture yourself. You've recently arrived in the new galaxy and are very, very low on resources, and are in all kinds of trouble. You're not going to have supply lines. Getting help from the Milky Way is impossible. But you do come across a race or faction of aliens who aren't hostile to you, but aren't willing to share their resources or even trade with you. Remember, you're desperate. You need what they have, so your options here are limited. You can leave these aliens alone and go in search of new resources, which would result in the deaths of a large chunk of your population by starvation or dehydration. Or you can take some of their stuff by force, which almost certainly will kill people on both sides and put the aliens in a desperate situation, which also may later result in their survivors seeking revenge against you later in the game. Or you can take all of their stuff, lose lots of people on both sides, and doom the other faction to complete annihilation. The point here is that there is not a good option. This scenario forces you to operate in a gray area. I don't know if this scenario will actually happen in the game, but it could, and the ramifications are fascinating. Mac also said that they're in the final stage of development, and everything that they're working on now is just polish, and they'd prefer to show things off once it's more polished. Now, if this is true and all they're doing is polishing the game, it's definitely on schedule for early 2017. Okay, let's take an even closer look at the trailer, or whatever you want to call it. Many of you saw a Quarian in the trailer, right here. Now, I'm pretty confident that this is a human, but I can see why so many of you are thinking Quarian, because that helmet looks a bit Quarian-ish. But I think the best evidence against that is the legs. Check out these legs here. They are clearly not Quarian legs. Another intriguing possibility is that this is a new alien, one with a humanoid body and a head that's big or long enough to require a different type of helmet. Now, that doesn't mean that Quarians aren't in the game. I'm just pretty sure that this isn't one. Others of you saw a Turian right here. Now, I'm very confident that this is a Krogan. Of course, it's not a great view, but let's take a look at how large that person is. And that's pretty damn large. Technically, the shape of the armor could be Turian or Krogan, but I'm going to go ahead and say that he's just too large to be a Turian, in my opinion. I do think the Turians are in the game. It would be weird if they weren't, and ultimately a huge missed opportunity, as the Turian-human dynamic is fascinating.
I hate Turians. I thought you'd be glad.
Now let's talk about that Asari, who many of you thinks looks like a man. She kinda does when you slow the video down or just outright freeze it. But when it's in motion, I think she looks much more like a very young girl. So I guess as an Asari, that would mean what, 40 or 60 years? But before we react too much to this, I think we need to see more. Keep in mind that the game is far enough out that her face could be tweaked. A couple of you pointed out that the person who is probably the playable character is holding a pistol in their left hand, and have speculated that this means you should be able to hold your gun left-handed or fire over the left shoulder. And I certainly hope so. You should have the ability to switch from left to right and right to left. Many shooters give you that option. Also, some of you pointed out that in this scene the character appears to reload that pistol, which implies that thermal clips will be making a return. Now that doesn't surprise me at all, but I still hope there are different types of guns that reload in different ways. This gun here looks like the M6 Carnifex, which we've seen a number of times in trailers so far. And that would be a gun that uses thermal clips. But there could be other guns that utilize the overheat mechanic, like the M7 Lancer. And hopefully there's some Andromeda alien tech guns that use something else entirely, maybe some kind of battery pack. But based on this, it's a good bet that thermal clips will make a return in some form. It's an excellent catch by you guys. District and I have been going back and forth over what I call the early exit theory. I've got a link to my early exit theory video in the description box, but basically the idea is that colonists who left for Andromeda did so before the ending of Mass Effect 3, and I think that's still very, very much in play. Here's an interesting quote by Mac Walters in an IGN article, which is linked in the description box. I'll read it all for you. We had a lot of different ideas when we started working on early concepts for what we wanted to do with the next Mass Effect game. I think aside from the fact that we said the Mass Effect trilogy was a trilogy for Shepard's story, which we have concluded, we were very careful to make sure that big choices like that, the Mass Effect 3 finale, wouldn't impact your decisions. From that, you can probably infer the timing of when they left. Huh. What does that sound like to you? So does that mean that Mac is confirming that the colonists left the Milky Way before the Reapers showed up? I don't know if it's an outright confirmation, but it is pretty close. Now, I doubt very much that this discussion will go away, and frankly, how we transition to Andromeda is the thing that I am most curious about. As we continue to look over this trailer, I'm sure we'll find more and more as time goes on, so be sure to keep an eye on that. If you've got any questions or comments or topics you are interested in, be sure to let me know in the comments section. These video response videos are based on them and are really meant to cover anything Mass Effect or channel related. Now, if I don't answer a question of yours, check the comments section because there's a chance that I answered it already. But if I haven't, feel free to ask it again. We're getting to the point where some of your comments are starting to slip past me, which I'm not that happy about. And I'd like to keep in contact with you guys as best as possible, no matter how many comments come in at once. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a like. It really helps out the channel. Keep an eye on Minius GC for more Mass Effect videos. But for now...
I should go now.